Hello everyone. So I am recording today my preparations for the first game of playoffs that I'm going to be playing in the Not So Casual Pokemon League. It's been a minute. There's a little break after the main season before playoffs, and then also given my high placement, I had a bye, meaning I didn't have to play the first round of playoffs. So for the second round of playoffs, which is my first round, I will be playing LaqOfInterest. He has the mono-normal team, and we'll get into it in a minute, but I first want to give a little introduction as to how playoffs work in our league. So they're a little different from main season. Instead of best of one, wherein you play a single game and then if you lose you're out, playoffs are actually in a best of three format. So you challenge your opponent, you play the first game, and then you have a 5-minute window, then you play this to kind of prepare, gather yourself, get some water, whatever, then you play the second game, and then if one player won both games, then they win the set, but because they're 2-0. But if each player won a single game, then there's a game 3 to determine the whole set. So now, as for team building during playoffs, you do not have to use the exact same team for all 3 games. So it's like, for instance, if I were to bring exactly this team and you see the Choice Spec Zoroark, and then he doesn't know I'm Choice Spec Zoroark for the second game. That's not how it works. However, you do have to bring the same 6 Pokemon. So once he sees that I have Weezing, Toxapex, Zarude, Ting-Lu, Gholdengo, Zoroark, he knows those are the 6 I have. I can't, game 2 load up Mega Houndoom or Gourgeist. This creates a few interesting wrinkles to doing playoffs. For instance, well, it doesn't matter as much versus a mono-normal team, but, let's say you're playing against, Mayo or something, and he doesn't bring Nidoking. You can go into game 2 knowing he doesn't really have an electric immunity, so you can start spamming electric moves, or for instance. But for my team, if you don't see Mega Houndoom, he might, let's say he has Aqua Jet on Feraligatr game 1, he might be able to free up that move slot, since I'm not really using as a Pokemon that's, let's say as fast and weak to that priority. Just as an example. So, now getting into the actual game itself. First, again, before I start, I want to say, for Laq, congratulations. This has been a very strong season for him, and he's playing a pretty difficult team style. Mono-normal has a lot of inherent weaknesses. You don't have a lot of the immunities and type-based resistances that most teams have access to. So for him to make playoffs and pass round 1 of playoffs, it's pretty impressive, and congratulations to him. Happy to see it. He's been at this mono-normal thing for a while, and I think the introduction of a ghost type and Ursaluna Blood Moon has done pretty good work. Anyways, getting into the matchup. So, looking at my team, quick review of my team. So, Ghost, Dark, Poison, that's kind of the gimmick that I'm playing this season. It's a lot less restrictive than mono-normal. And we have basically this, it's sort of like a hazard status spam kind of team. You got Toxapex setting up hazards, Ting-Lu setting up more hazards, Gholdengo making it very difficult to remove hazards, and then just like Fast Hex. Zarude is just generally a bastard, but also appreciates sashes and poison to get things in range. Weezing can kind of help slow down their progress along with Toxapex Haze, so I have a lot of tools in my toolkit that help kind of slow down their progress while the hazards do their job. That's the general game plan. I've deviated it from a few times. Sometimes I just kind of relied on this very broken Pokemon to carry me through. A lot of people have a lot of negative opinions of Zarude after the season, but I think he's a fun little guy. As for Laq's team, as I've alluded to a few times, it's a mono-normal team. You have just a lot of, normal types of different things. He's made a little bit of an exception. He's allowed some Pokemon, like Feraligatr, that can Terra into normal. Flareon as well, and he's also made an exception for Clefable, and has in the past for Togekiss. I believe he was sniped out of Togekiss, but because they used to be normal types before Gen 6. So, obviously, you're fighting mono-normal. Everything is either neutral or weak to fighting, barring Zoroark and Clefable. So, we do have a fair few fighting moves: Body Press, Focus Blast. Zarude, we can go fighting type Terra with close combat later, but I would be shocked if he doesn't bring Pidgeot, because my team's pretty weak to flying. So, we're going to look to exploit some of the flaws of the normal type for sure. But as for his team in general, Ursaluna Blood Moon is a terrifying sweeper. It can set up Calm Mind, it can really end games, but also even without boosts, that Blood Moon hits really hard, and normal ground with Scrappy is very hard to resist. Zoroark is just very fast. It's faster than everything on my team besides my own Zoroark, which should be a fun mirror matchup. Funny enough, actually, normal Ghost is almost unresisted. One of the only Pokemon that resists both of them is Zoroark itself. So there's kind of an interesting push and pull there. Obviously, I won't be loading any Ghost-type moves into this team, but still, for him. Terapagos is an interesting Pokemon. It can kind of go one of two routes. It could either be sort of a support Pokemon with Stealth Rocks, Rapid Spin. I think it gets Thunder Wave, decent power, sort of like a bulky utility attacker. Or it could try to do a sweeper set. It can do like Meteor Beam, and it can still use Rapid Spin to speed boost for this, but it can do Meteor Beam, Calm Mind, that sort of gimmick. Clefable can kind of do anything, but its base stats are a little low. As anyone who's played competitive Pokemon since Gen 6, or Gen 4, I guess, is probably pretty familiar with Clefable. Gator is terrifying. One Dragon Dance, and my team does not do well against Water and Normal type. I do have Toxapex, which helps, but I'm running at Spadef game 1. I might need to change that for game 2. We'll get into that in a second. Meloetta I'm not too scared about. I have a lot of dark types, so I don't think he's going to bring it. Mega Pidgeot's pretty scary. It's faster than my whole team, and I don't love flying spam. I do have Goldengo, which makes him kind of want to click fire moves, and then Tinglu has a bazillion special defense, so I'm not screwed, but it's definitely scary. I think he's definitely going to bring it. Heliolisk is a little slower than my 110s and 115s, so I don't think it's coming. I have a lot of special attackers, and Beware kind of just doesn't do anything to Toxapex, so I don't think Beware's coming, but I could maybe see a Swords Dance set being a little obnoxious. Ambipom does have a pretty good speed tier. I wouldn't be shocked if he brings Ambipom, but it also kind of really struggles against Rocky Helmet Toxapex, which I could bring game 2 if he does bring Ambipom, so I don't think it's coming, but it's possible. Kamala's kind of dog shit, Flareon's kind of dog shit, so I don't think those are coming. So if I had to guess, it's going to be Ursa, Zoroark, Clef, Gator, Pidgeot, and then probably Terapagos, but maybe one of these. Anyways, as for the team I've constructed here, I did heavily consider Houndoom over Quill, and like sort of considered Rotom, but didn't end up going with it. But I ended up not going with them, and we'll get into why in a minute. The Lax team, since it doesn't have a grounded poison type, you can't passively remove Toxic Spikes. Additionally, his only not grounded Pokemon is Mega Pidgeot, and his only poison immune Pokemon is Magic Guard Clefable. So there's a lot of poison susceptibility in this team. A lot of Pokemon here really do not like Toxic Spikes. So, Toxic Spikes is Toxic Spikes. Shocker. And my game plan does kind of revolve around that. I also have Toxic on Weezing, because Terapagos probably has heavy-duty boots, Mega Pidgeot's airborne, and also it's just nice if he does manage to clear them with Rapid Spin. So my game plan does kind of hinge on Toxic Spikes, as you might expect from my team. But I'm also very wary of setup. Between Feraligatr and Ursaluna, and potentially Terapagos and Zoroark and Clefable, there's quite a few Pokemon that could try to set up and pose a threat, so we have Haze and Clear Smog on my defensive Pokemon. So, basic game plan here, set up hazards, switch around, play defensively, make it work. Tinglu has Rest to kind of be able to switch in over and over again, and then I have Aromatherapy on Weezing to clear the rest. It's a little gimmicky. If it doesn't work out, I might just switch to a more standard set with Whirlwind game 2. But this is what I got for now. Body Press just clicks super effectively against most of the team, and then Heavy Slam covers Clefable and does pretty good damage to Zoroark. So this clicks super well versus the team. Goldengo I have as my Scarfer because it's just faster than Feraligatr with these EVs, and Focus Blast should kill if he Terra Normals, which he has done every game. If he doesn't, then, that's fair enough, but it should still do pretty good damage because none of these types resist fighting. And then if Gator is dead, doesn't come, whatever, we can trick away the Choice Scarf and start just spamming Make It Rain, which after Feraligatr terrestrializes, there is no resistance to, so it clicks pretty freely. Zoroark is just kind of a breaker set. As a normal type team, he doesn't have any rock or steel types, so his only normal resistance is Zoroark. So we can click Hyper Voice very easily, especially if we nail Zoroark with the Dark Pulse. Grass Knot is just a bigger move versus Ursaluna in case I need that. And the last set, Zarude, for now, I just have a set that I think if I'm able to get a Swords Dance, kind of just cooks this whole team, barring maybe Zoroark. Petal Blizzard just hits very hard. Those health EVs make it a lot tankier than you'd expect. And yeah, +2, I'm pretty sure Petal Blizzard and Terra Blast Electric just kill most things, besides like full health Terapagos because of its ability. And then Jungle Healing lets me just muscle through a lot of stuff like Lefable. So I'm hoping to see if I can pull a Swords Dance sweep. I would not be shocked if I don't really get the turns for it. Mono-type teams tend to be very, I'll send out my Pokemon, I'm not going to switch that much because there aren't really too many defensive synergies. So if I'm not really like forcing switches and getting that momentum, game 2 I might just swap for an Assault Vest set, take out Swords Dance and Jungle Healing and add like Knockoff and Close Combat or something. So that's kind of where I'm thinking I might take this as Rude if this set doesn't really cook for game 1. And yeah, I think that's the gist of the team. A few other little niches. I gave Toxapex a fair bit of speed. This makes it faster than uninvested Ursaluna. The idea is I can haze before getting hit by a big Combine move. This might be a throw, to be honest. It might be better to just have defensive EVs, but I want to try it for game 1. If it feels like it was a waste, then game 2 I'm just going to go back to full bulk. I might need to do defensive if for Alligator's a problem. It definitely could be. This thing is kind of a menace. So if I need to do that, I'll go back to full physical defense. And yeah, and this set, Protect lets me stop Blood Moon, and Ursaluna doesn't ignore all type-based immunities, just the ones that resist, essentially just Scrappy, so it can hit Ghosts. So Levitate lets me ignore its Earth power. So if I got the Protect turn right on Blood Moon, like the move Blood Moon, then Ursaluna can't hit me the next turn, assuming it's just using stabs, so I can Toxic it. And then even if I get it wrong and he Combines, this should be faster, so Clear Smog should remove the boost, so at least I'm not facing a sweep because of it. So yeah, this is kind of a hopefully beats Ursaluna set, maybe not, we'll see. But yeah, that is the gist of the team. And as for the game itself, since a best of 3 set obviously takes a while, I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it all as one video or upload it in chunks, kind of to be determined. We'll see what makes the most sense, but I will record it all, including my mid-battle preps. And yeah, I hope you enjoy when the game happens, and that should be all.